So everyone, you remember when we posted the video from Politicon and they had the debate with the what's that guy named, the original Black Mike, whatever his name is, the one that stepped in and sit there to save the dude, Hunter, Avalon, and then Alyssa here, I'm pretty sure you remember her, that she was going back and forth with them. Well, I said, we're here in Atlanta, she's in the area, so we want to talk to her about what happened after that. She was kind of sharing some things that I thought maybe you guys should know. And I saw some of the comments you guys had about, hey, you know, she's talking some good things. So, Alyssa, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me.
So after all that, you know, went back and forth with Hunter and everything. And, you know, I noticed that when, you know, before I came up, he was really like, he was getting so angry with you, like he wanted to fight almost. But then when, you know, I stepped in, I noticed he had kind of calmed his nerves, so he'd had that same kind of energy. Now, let me ask you a question. I've been noticing that's like people like the Proud Boys and all these other, you know, groups who say they're not racist groups, but a lot of them are. What is their vitriol towards women, especially, you know, women like in their group, like, you know, you're a white woman. What is the vitriol? Because I noticed there's a lot of infighting with you guys. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, you know, I've always found that really, really interesting, especially, you know, like in the past election with like Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp, and really all over when they break down the statistics of like who votes for who, like female, male, and everything like that, and based on race. And white women, time and time again, they do end up leaning more Republican. And I mean, I'm definitely, obviously, you know me, that's not me, but I kind of want to blame it, I guess, on maybe like an internalized misogyny, and them just being part of that party and not, I don't know, I guess just trying to agree with whatever it is that the party's doing and just kind of going behind the party no matter what. But I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of a change, but yeah, that's always very surprising to me, especially for someone like me. I actually went to the Women's March after inauguration weekend. That was my birthday weekend. So I was like, oh, how am I going to celebrate this? So I ended up going there, and it was really weird to see. I mean, I liked how there was a lot of diversity at the march, but I mean, if we were going to say like who was there the most, it was definitely a lot. There was a lot of white women for sure. That's undeniable. So it's weird to see like us, you know, like that type of group like be out in those things, but then it's like when it comes to voting, when it comes to policy, like we're not really there, you know. So I mean, I definitely see that, and it's super frustrating.
Well, you know, the numbers, you know, like I said, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah.
But that's whoever gathers the numbers. But you're right. Stacey Abrams was actually running more on an agenda to help, you know, you're talking about feminism, or when they say women, you know, I'm a realist on my platform. They mostly mean white women. Let's call it what it is. So how you saying that white women saw a candidate pushing their issues, okay? Because our biggest issue as Black Americans, there's no agenda on the table for Black Americans. So yet they voted Brian Kemp. That's his name, right?
Yeah,
Brian Kemp. They voted him.
It was so close. It was so close.
But overwhelmingly, white women did this, even in the
it was like in the 70% range.
In Florida with Andrew Gillum, right? White women. So usually these candidates have been pushing and towing the line of, you know, racism and white supremacy. So do you, based on the voting, and they know what they're saying, do you believe that the majority of those women, even though they'll go to the Women's March and they want this so-called equality with women, but do you believe that those women rather maintain white supremacy over equality?
100%. I definitely think that we see that more than the opposite. And obviously, as a white woman myself, that's something that I really, really try to fight for, is use my privilege as a platform for those voices that aren't heard. Specifically, maybe with Stacey, what could have lost some white women, because I know, you know, regardless of like, you know, male, female, whatever you are, if you're Republican, I see like a lot of discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community on that aisle, or on that side of the aisle. And I think especially with Stacey Abrams, that could have definitely been a huge difference. I actually was fortunate enough to be able to be in the Pride Parade in Atlanta this year. It was my first time going to Pride, and it was so amazing. And I actually got to march in front of Stacey, and I know that was a breakthrough. I mean, I don't think you really ever see candidates for anything, especially in the South, South, you know, standing up with the LGBTQ plus community. And I definitely think that made a huge difference to us. I'm bisexual, but I mean, obviously I'm in a straight relationship right now, so I pass and it's not like a huge issue for me. But definitely seeing that was just amazing. And I'm sure for other people in the community, it was really awesome to see that as well. So I'm sure that made her with us, but it may have broken her with the white women that align themselves Republican, if that makes sense.
Well, earlier you stated those same women to go to the Women's March, right?
I mean, I don't know if it's the same women. I was just saying, like, it just was crazy to me to see, like, to go to the Women's March and see how many people, like, there was a good diversity to it, but there was a lot of white women there. And then to come back here and see that, you know, that's not really happening. And that might be a South and North thing, because, I mean, I have always lived in the South. So, you know, it might just be down here, too. I kind of feel like, you know, there's kind of a sea of blue or a sea of red, and we're, like, in the middle, you know?
Right. So based off of the voting and everything, would it be safe to say that the majority of white women would be more comfortable living in a system of white supremacy more than a system of equality? Is that, would you?
Yeah, for
that?
here in the South, I would definitely say that. I haven't looked in, like, I don't know off the top of my head, like, how the voting went for some of the northern states. I mean, I know we did have a good bit of blue wave for the House, but at least if I could just speak for the South, I would definitely say that there are a lot of white women who are too comfortable and that aren't willing to, like, take the stand, I feel like.
Well, do you think that they fear leadership that doesn't look like them, or why do you think they do that?
I could see that. I could see that. I was actually really upset. I'm a big Bernie Sanders fan, but there was a interview he had a couple weeks ago where he said that that there's some people, like some white individuals, that won't vote for a candidate of color just because they're, like, uncomfortable about that. Because I'm guessing because they look different or whatever. And I mean, Bernie tried to say that he didn't think that was inherently racist. Now, I disagree. It might be some, like, internal racism, because I'm sure there's people all the time, like, I know me, like, we all kind of have to teach ourselves not to be racist, I guess you could say, or, like, it's kind of I don't know, it's something that we have to actively be aware of, I feel like. But I think with that idea of like white women trying to, you know, be comfortable and not break the status quo. I think that does dip down into them kind of like feeding into white supremacy for sure. And that's why I try to use, you know, like I said, my voice, my platform, my privileges to, you know, give voice to that and try to give voice to that pretty much.
Well, you stated something earlier about, you know, people that look different, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Do all white women look like you?
No, I mean,
I'm going through that line of questioning. So if all white women don't look like you, let's say if a white woman runs for office, 9 times out of 10 she's not gonna look like you, right? So she's different. Only thing that you could have a kinship on is maybe a skin tone.
Yes.
Correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So that answer that he gave, don't you believe it's a way of him trying to not call out really what it is? Because if you don't look the same as all of the white people, I don't look the same as all of the black people. So everyone looks different, right?
Yeah.
So would it be safe to say that based on the voting, based on the actions, and you're talking about, you know, inherent bias, racism, would it be safe to say that the majority of white people in America aren't comfortable with maybe a black person, you know, ruling, or Arab person or whatever? Do you feel
I would like to think that they are. I mean, after us having Obama, but I don't know. I mean, now seeing the state of things now, it's like I'm trying to be realistic, I guess you could say.
I'm realistic too.
You know, and I don't know, especially when you look into the fact that, you know, if Stacey would have won, she would have been the first female governor ever, like in our history. And prior to this, we've only had 2 male governors. So that would have been 2 total, 3 total maybe. Like, I just feel like our representation needs to be equal to like the population size, you know what I'm saying? So like if there's like a certain amount of people that are, you know, black or whatever, then those people need to be represented, or Asian or Latino or whatever it may be. Because right now, I mean, it's pretty much like 99% all across the board. It's all like white and then like white men. And I feel like how are they going to know what my struggle is, what your struggle is? You know, they might know, they could research, but I just don't really think you know until you've actually lived it. That's why I love, probably my favorite person right now in office is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I literally follow her stuff all day on Instagram. I watch all her stories. I love everything she's doing because I feel like she has actually walked the walk and talked the talk. Like she's actually out there doing it. And I feel like I'm accurately represented, you know, even though she, like I said, I mean, she's obviously not white. She's not white, but she's a woman. So like she understands that. But you know, I feel like that representation is so important. One thing I've said a couple of times is that I feel like, you know, if somebody like Alexandria would have gotten into office when I was a kid, like 10 or 11 or whatever, I feel that could have really inspired me and pushed me to pursue politics sooner. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how we get put in these, you know, gender boxes of like what, when you don't see, or not gender, race, anything. Like when you don't see that representation, I don't know, it just kind of sets up a wall, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of the things that Alexandria is putting out, and the thing is, this is what I will say. You know, whether people agree with this or not, Donald Trump has changed politics completely.
Yeah.
And the thing I do appreciate him changing is people don't have to be fake no more.
I can see that.
And so
I
when
can
you
see
talk about
that.
Alexandria, and I saw a couple of her Instagram posts, and she was talking about, you know, how she had all these choices for health care and other people don't, and she said it's not right.
Yeah,
And
she even said how her health care that she's going to be getting through Congress is essentially going to be cheaper than how much she had to pay to get her health care as a waitress.
Yeah,
which is
I read
totally
that.
understandable, totally real.
I read that, but before they would have never said nothing like that.
Right,
and
no.
Then also, I think it was CNN that was saying that Alexandria don't even want to give them interviews. She just rather talk to her people on Instagram.
Yeah,
and that's what
and
I'm
I
saying.
like that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like Trump kind of changed the landscape on that, whether we like it or not. And
Right.
like I said, I take a peep at this. Donald Trump has even inspired me to believe that anybody could be president.
Same.
Hell,
Okay. Yeah. I
could
can see
be the
that. You
president
gotta
and
have a
Donald
positive
Trump's the
outlook on
president.
it, and I
Yeah.
could totally. I've
Yeah.
literally said that 100 times to my boyfriend. I'm always like, you know what? I should run for office because if Donald Trump can do it, then why the heck couldn't I do it? Honestly.
Why not? I mean, you know, a lot of people got voted in. I think Jordan Davis' mom, Lucy McBath.
Yes.
You know,
I
she
love
won.
Lucy. I should have mentioned her. I've been
Yeah,
following her
she
stuff
won.
too.
Mm-hmm.
What an inspiration. Again, just to see females, not only that, to see a parent losing a child, one of the most difficult things that, I mean, I can't even imagine, and let alone the circumstances surrounding it, her be able to use that and find strength from it, and then be able to use her story to help other people that are like going through the same stuff. I just, oh man, she's awesome. She's
Right.
so cool.
Right. So earlier you was talking about, you know, the Republican Party having, you know, say a bunch of, and I know, you know, it's older, you know, white men. It's not even young white men, right?
Exactly.
They kind of say, hey, you know, they know how to operate Snapchat and all the other things, right? So why is it that they feel comfortable? You're talking about a lot of white women. Why do they feel comfortable with a bunch of old white guys, a lot of times in their 60s, 70s, just being in control of everything? Because I don't think they represent, that even to say in the white community, they can't even represent fully the people your age. 'Cause they're too
Absolutely
old.
not, because I feel like that group that's in Congress, I mean, they really, I mean, you can even boil it down past just white people to really the rich and the wealthy. That's who they're going to align with, because they don't understand the struggle of the day to day, like Alexandra, like other people are trying to show. So I really think for the Republican Party, for the GOP, it really all boils down to like traditionalism. They're all about tradition, and like change is like a no-go for them, it seems like. So if I was to pick anything, and again, like I'm not an expert, but just from my personal opinion, what I've witnessed and experienced, I would say it all boils down to that, like they're not comfortable with change, because like change is just, it's what's the word? It's unpredictable, I guess would be a good word. It's not something that they can control, and I think that's what freaks them out more than anything.
Yeah, well, you know, change is good though.
I think so. Of course.
We should, you know, I'm a firm believer of you see the country one way, and it's going, and you keep doing the same thing. Well, you know, the definition is saying to keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, right?
Right, exactly.
So I told people a long time ago, we just need to vote all the older people out.
Yes.
Make Congress, the Senate look like America, which is, you know, you have all groups of people.
A melting pot,
Yeah,
as it should
and
be,
make
and
sure
everybody's perspectives are represented, and we vote and figure out what we want to do.
Right,
Yeah.
because everybody's perspective isn't represented.
Right.
And you know, that's what, you know, some of the frustration lies, at least in, you know, the African American community.
Most definitely.
That our, you know, we're not being represented. So, Alyssa, could you tell people how they can get to your channel?
Yes.
And let them know in the camera.
Definitely. So it is Final Facts with Alyssa, and Alyssa is the same way as Alyssa Milano, Alyssa. Super happy to be named after somebody so awesome. But yeah, so Final Facts with Alyssa on my Instagram. I kind of have my personal combined with my Final Facts. So it is Miss Pinky Marie, and that's MISSPINKIEMARIE. And then also we have a Facebook page, Final Facts with Alyssa.
All right, and so before we wrap up, I had told Alyssa she needs to possibly get into voice acting, like cartoon characters and things like that. And I said, the thing is, if it happens, I want my 20%.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I got you. We'll work something out.
I need my 20%. So guys, check out our page. We'll put the links into the pinned comment, and see you on the next one.